Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Our New Narrative. And today I'm working on episode 3 in this series within the channel called Things I Wish I Also Learned in February. And the title for today is Anthony Johnson versus John Casor. The subject basically is the first man to be civilly convicted to slavery for life in the American colonies. And like all the stories I'll present, hopefully they'll be relatively brief and you learn something, but it's important to put these stories in their proper context as far as time and cultures, and to see these people through the eyes of the people who were living at the time and not through our eyes in 2020. So the underlying subject matter is basically slavery. And so let's talk about that real quick. So slavery has been walking along. I say it all the time. Slavery has been walking along mankind since the beginning. There's records of the institution of slavery predating Egypt. You can go back 7,000 years and start marching forward. Slavery is always there through the Egyptian dynasty and culture of the pyramids and whatnot, through Rome, through the Greeks, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Europeans, the Incas. Slavery has been everywhere. It's touched everybody. The institution of slavery is not unique to America. It is, as common as the common code, death, marriage, love, as far as human existence is concerned. And with that said, I want to direct you to a link in the description to a website that will give you a ton of information on organizations currently fighting the good fight against the institution of slavery. And I'm not just talking about fighting against sex trafficking and things like that. I mean, that's included, but there are still people enslaved for their physical labor today. And so I definitely, while we talk about the subject matter, I definitely want to spread light on what is currently happening to those still caught up in the institution of slavery. Now, with that said, there's another, I was talking about how prevalent the institution of slavery has been in our timeline. There's a bright line I always want to draw, and that is 1776, and I'm not talking about the American Revolution here. I'm talking about the first established abolitionist society in America. Now, there was a couple maybe in England before this date, but the gist of this is no one got together to oppose the institution of slavery until around 1776, and in America happened to be in Pennsylvania. But before that, go all the way back to Christ, 1700 years, there was no abolitionist society. Before Christ was born, you can go all the way back as far as you can go. No one formed an organization to end slavery. So the story I'm going to talk to you about today happened about 100 years before 1776, or even more. And this is about Anthony Johnson and John Casor. So Anthony Johnson in the 1620s was captured by slave catchers in Angola, sold to slave traders, shipped off to the colonies, and became an indentured servant for a merchant in Virginia. And around 1635, him and his wife earned his freedom. And the colony of Virginia granted him 250 acres of land. And he had 5 indentured servants, 4 of whom were white and 1 was black. But the one we're interested in today for this story is this guy. John Casor. He was an indentured servant and for Anthony Johnson. And one day, I guess he strolled off the property or whatnot and came across this guy named Captain Goldsmith. And he told Captain Goldsmith that to get in the way of this guy. That's a little silly. Anyway, he told Captain Goldsmith that he had been working for Anthony Johnson 7 years beyond his contract. 7 years. And, you know, I complained about not getting paid for overtime sometime. This dude was working for 7 whole years beyond his contract, according to him. So what Goldsmith did, he went to a neighbor, and I don't know why he went to the neighbor, Robert Parker. But Robert Parker convinced John Cesar's owner, Anthony Johnson, to let him go. Apparently, Anthony bought off on this. He let John Cesar go. And in the context of the time period there, you have to remember, it's not like he walked out of his indentured servitude and got a job at Starbucks. It's not a lot for you to do if you don't own land, if you're not a blacksmith or something like that. So it's very easy to see how John Cesar went back into servitude, and he went back into servitude under Robert Parker. Now here's where the, you know, daytime drama kind of kicks in, or soap opera. So Anthony Johnson, I guess, saw this and was like, wait a minute. This ain't right. He needs to be working for me. Why he thought this, I don't know. But he actually took Robert Parker to court over him, saying he still belongs to me. And then Robert Parker was like, okay, I'll see you in court. They went to court. Robert Parker won. But not to be outdone, Anthony Johnson was like, no, I'm appealing this. He appealed it. And apparently this is the court case. I can't read it. It's just here. It's on Wikipedia if you want to see it. Actually, a lot of this information is on Wikipedia. So just look up Anthony Johnson colonist, 1600 to 1670. You'll find it. But in this document, it basically said that Anthony Johnson still owned John Casor. And John Casor was basically convicted civilly to be a servant for life. And this was the first time anyone had been basically convicted to be a slave for life who did no criminal wrong, right? This opened the door for perpetual slavery in the colonies and, you know, subsequently America. And there was a court case between that involved, you know, you had the defendant and the complaint. The person doing the complaining was a black man. The person doing the defending was a white man. And the person who really got screwed was another black man. So all that to say, this is a perfect example of how slavery is not unique to the African-American experience. Slavery has been a stain on the human experience throughout the course of our existence. And it should be put in this proper context when we're talking about it. That's my belief. I want to remind you again to check out the link below. Support these organizations that's trying to end this blight on our existence today. And I'll be back again with some more information or some more stories. All right. Bye.